Thank you. Thank you very much for showing this nice video that I think nicely introduced the European Union Road Federation, the association that I have the pleasure to represent today. As Torsten said, I am replacing our director, Christophe Nicodème, that unfortunately cannot be here today, but he sent his greetings and, of course, his apologies for not attending. This is a very special week for ERF because we celebrated our 25th anniversary, and today we are here in Hofmann Technology Day. It's my first time here, and I have to say I'm really impressed by the organization and by the quality of this event. I will do my best to provide you a general overview on what's going on microplastics in Europe in this moment and what we are doing in ERF under this regard. I will start with a very short legal and policy framework. As many things nowadays, everything starts with the European Green Deal, which is the big European industrial strategy, basically, which will be with us for the next decades. It has very ambitious targets, such as climate neutrality by 2050. It includes many strategies and plans. One of them is the Circular Economy Action Plan, which says something about plastics and microplastics. It includes the single-use plastic strategy and also aims at reducing the release of microplastic intentionally added to released in the environment. I invite you to bear in mind this term intentional because as we will see later in the presentation, the European Union does an important distinction between intentionally and unintentionally added microplastics. Then the Green Deal includes also the Zero Pollution Action Plan, which aims at reducing the release of microplastics in the environment by 30% by 2030. So, as we will see, this is a very hot period for this topic, but how did we get here? As I said, we start with the publication of the European Green Deal in December 2019. Shortly after, publication of the Circular Economy Action Plan in March 2020. And then the year after, 2021, a study was commissioned on cost-benefit analysis of possible policy measure on how to reduce microplastic unintentionally released in the environment. Then between the end of 2021 and the beginning of 2022, this study started to be made. There was a call for evidence open to all kinds of stakeholders for impact assessment. The stakeholders that could be national or regional authorities or certification bodies or industry, academia, or whatever, could send their opinion and their feedback, and you can still read these feedbacks on the Commission website. Then between February and May, they could fill a survey, but it's basically the same process. And then in 2022, many stakeholders, informative stakeholder workshops open to stakeholders were held by the European Commission. And then we come to today. And when I say today, I mean really the last month, because September and October, as I said, has been a quite intense period. We had in September the publication of the restriction on microplastic intentionally added to products. Then we had a proposal in October to regulate the microplastic coming from pellet losses, and this is in the family of unintentional release of microplastics in the environment. And then the publication of a brochure on the EU action against microplastics is a short document, is a summary on everything the European Union is doing on microplastics in this moment, and I will show you some interesting figures from it later in the presentation. So when it comes to the first of this document that I mentioned, this is a very short summary of certain points that you can find in it. First of all, what do we mean by microplastic intentionally added to products? we mean microplastics that are added by producers to their products to give them certain characteristics, such as a certain color, certain heat resistance, or water absorption. The document has a broad definition of microplastics because it covers all synthetic polymers particles below 5 millimeters that are organic, insoluble, and resist degradation. What kind of products are touched by this regulation? We have an example in these pictures. The products that are more often mentioned are products for personal care, cosmetics, or sport surfaces products. And this is the moment to say that road markings shouldn't be affected by this regulation, because the release of microplastic coming from a road mark is considered unintentional. But it's still important to follow up this under our point of view, because we find maybe something that we can expect from a future regulation on microplastics coming from road markings. This is a quote from the text, and I underlined in yellow the part when it says that we should provide the producers that consider their products not affected by the regulation should still provide information to competent authorities upon their request. So this is something maybe we can expect. This is also a quote from the commissioner responsible for this regulation, Thierry Breton, commissioner for the internal market. Against, I underline in yellow the part where he mentioned examples of products affected. And he mentioned advantages for the EU industries and especially SMEs, which will be able to be innovative and to make innovation. Of course, we will see also from future regulation if these words will translate into reality. And then we come to paints. This is a portion of the document that I mentioned before. Paints are the big family of products in which road markings are classified by the EU Commission. And this document clearly states that under this regard, further assessment and studies are necessary to figure out which are the most effective and appropriate measures. This is an interesting figures that you can find in the document. This is the family of products that are considered unintentional sources of microplastics. And as you can see, paints are a quite important product in this family because it's the higher bar. But at the same time, there is a big difference between the lower estimates and the higher estimates, on which is the effective contribution coming from paints on microplastic release in the environment. Maybe even more interesting for us, in the paint family, we can see roads is not at all the main contributor, is this bar, which is quite small if compared to other products. So assessments are undergoing, debates are undergoing, and this is why in this moment is important for us to make the voice of European industry heard. And this is why last year ERF published position papers called Road Markings and Microplastics. We did so, first of all, to fight some misconceptions that unfortunately are published and can sometimes become very popular online, and so have the potential to influence the point of view of the Commission. For instance, these studies always report an exaggerated estimate of the contribution of road markings to microplastic pollution. This 7% that you find is an average of different studies. There are also higher estimates. One study even mentioned 19% of microplastic pollution coming from road markings, which is, of course, a big exaggeration. And this is why there are some fake assumptions. For instance, the idea that the paint applied to roads almost equals the paint lost, and a general disregard towards some specificity of road markings. What we state in our position paper is that the studies are inaccurate, and we also note often not peer-reviewed. We noted that the point of view of industry and the input from industry is very rarely taken into account, and also an ignorance, as I said before, of certain features, such as the difference between functional and physical service life of paint. We also remind the importance of glass beads that reduce abrasion of the layer, and so the microplastic release is reduced, and also provide the retroreflectivity as we saw earlier. It's very important for road safety, which is the first function of a road marking system. In conclusion, we recommend in our position paper to select durable, high-quality road markings and the implementation of proactive maintenance programs, where road markings are renewed when the performance falls below a certain level of retroreflectivity. And this is, in our opinion, the only way to provide both a reduction of microplastics pollution and road safety. This is a small portion of our position paper that you can find on our website. This is the link to our campaign, erf.be/publications/microplastics. We warmly invite you to take a look on it and always to contribute to it, because as we saw, it is a crucial moment, and it's really high time to make the voice of European industry heard in the European Commission and institutions, and this is what we are trying to do in ERF. And with this, I hope I fit the schedule, and I end my presentation, and I thank you for your attention.